Hi, welcome to Shelly's Studio, and today is another Mixed Media Pick 10 video. This one is, gosh, I don't even know what week. I've got them all written down, and this is one of the earlier ones. Well, the first step was to add glitter, so I have a few bottles of Stickles that I got from Tuesday morning, and I just picked one at random and decided to make some swirls around my page. This time I am, oops, let's grab that off of there. Following them pretty closely. I'm not putting any paint down beforehand, and like the previous one that I did, has a lot of white at the end. Maybe this is my white period. I don't know. So once I get that on, I do leave it overnight to dry because it's kind of thick and it does take a little while to dry. The next step is to add random letters. So I have a box of chipboard letters that I don't think there's enough to make an actual word anymore. So obviously I've got X, V, and Z in this stack. And so I just picked some at random, and we're going to paint them and put them on our page. They don't really have any meaning, just that they were what I had, and they're kind of interesting shapes, right? And the paint I'm using is Craftsmart, and the blue is denim and the other is black. Trying to keep it a little bit more blue, but it does get quite dark. And with acrylic it dries darker, so they end up kind of dark in the end. But we use a prompt later on and we'll lighten them up again. And I did just kind of want it to be, mixed on the letters themselves, so they had a little bit of variety. So that's why I'm just dipping into the blue, then dipping into the black, just to make it interesting. I think as long as you have two colors that blend well together, you could do this with almost any colors, and it would be a lot of fun. I like how these kind of have an ombre or a marbled effect. But that one was a little too dark, so we're adding a little bit more lighter blue. Okay, so there they are, and here is our page with our glitter, and we're just going to figure out how to arrange these. I don't know why I fussed with them quite a bit. I guess because they're kind of the focal image on the page, because they go right down the center. Once I decided how they went, I did take a picture so I would remember when I was gluing them on how they went. And I'm just using Aleene's tacky glue to glue them down. Because they are kind of heavier, I thought that would be the best way to secure them. You can see as I'm gluing them, I'm not being perfect going all the way to the edges. I'm just making a line along them, a little bit more of a wiggly line in the thicker areas. But I don't really want a lot of glue to squish out along the edges. If I see any, I do grab it up with my fingers, just to keep it a little cleaner. And that one's not staying down. So we're going to add a little bit more glue. And it's probably because of the texture of the stickles. And we'll just use my water bottle to hold it down there for a minute while it dries. So now we're all good and dry. The next step was to rub gesso in a few areas. Well, my page was pretty much already white. I didn't necessarily want to add black gesso, so I figured I'd just gesso around the edge a little bit. I end up covering it up anyway. Alright, so the next step on our pick 10 was to scribble with a colored pencil. So I did pick a blue, and I decided I would kind of shade some of those swirls on our page. Kind of gives them a little bit of three-dimensionality, maybe. A little. Sorry, I've got to figure out a way. I have my camera on a tripod and it's up as high as it will go, and it's still not high enough to show the entire sketchbook in one viewing. So it either cuts off the top or the bottom. If I remember as I'm going, I can move it around, but I usually get so involved in what I'm doing I forget that it's filming. It's really bad when I don't notice it shut off. Alright, so the next step was to collage. It said newspaper or text, and this is an Italian newspaper. It was wrapped around a gift my friend, who's a travel agent, brought back from Italy, and so it's all in Italian. Hopefully none of it is bad. I decided I would tear it up kind of small so it's not really legible as sentences. It was just the regular newspaper. There was some articles on there that I could tell they were talking about bad things. Not, offensive, just not happy. So I tried to avoid those pages. But this one, I don't know what it's about. And I just decided to collage around and kind of emphasize the border, and this did take a lot of time, and I won't make you watch me do the whole thing, but I just went along the edges of the swirls and created more of a border. So there's the border, as you can see, and I'm just trimming off some of the edges. I did not wait for it to completely dry. You really should make sure it's completely dry before you start cutting, because then you don't cut the paper, the sketchbook, as much. Unless you're really bad at aim with your scissors, like right there. And so the next step was to add black paint. I decided I would add some black paint and a little bit of glazing medium because I didn't want it to be stark black, and mix those together. And I decided I was just going to go around the edges with this black paint. And just sort of blend it so it fades into the page. Kind of gives it an antiqued, sort of weathered appearance. And I definitely didn't need as much black paint as I got out. I didn't realize how little it would take. You can see me kind of blotting off the brush because I don't want it to go dark all the way in, so I rub it off on my craft mat and blend it in. So there's that part. Now the next part was to write a few words of journaling. And just the day I created this was August 8th. There, I added my journaling. And then this next step was to drag a brush through wet paint. Well, I didn't have any where I wanted to just put wet paint on my piece, so I have this brush that has a really nice flat edge. It's great for scraping and stuff. It's more of a watercolor brush. And I thought the back of this would work good to just add some blue into my letters and maybe brighten them up a little bit because they are kind of dark. Alright, the next one was to write something scribbled. It also said that only you would know, and this was back on August 8th. I went and looked at it, and I can't read it, and I don't remember what it said. And who knows, maybe it was nonsensical words. I don't remember. So the last prompt was garden party. And so I decided, well, I went looking and I found these belong to my mother. She used to scrapbook a lot, and she would go to different scrapbooking parties, and she has all this stuff. It's all kind of really florally and frou-frou-y, but I thought these ones would work for garden party. They're kind of subtle if you don't put the whole thing on. And so we're just putting a few of these cute little flowers on our words. And randomly around. Incorporate them into the border. And then these are stickers that were hers, and when I went to pull it up, I did not realize it is like all that the sticker is the actual color. So all those little white areas are holes. So you could stick that on any color and the color would show through. They're really cool stickers. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it gives you some ideas. Try the pick a stick challenge. It's a lot of fun. If you liked this video, please hit like. Feel free to comment, share. I love hearing comments. And if you'd like to see more from me, please subscribe. Thanks for watching.